Welcome back, everybody. My name is John Minton. Welcome to the channel. Right over there is my literary wingman, Jacob. We are here today with the amazing, talented, effervescent booktuber, beautiful Tori Tecken, and more importantly, an amazing author. And that's what we're here to talk about today. Jacob and I have both read your latest book, Old Silver for Soul. A little bit of Western, a little bit of necromancy, a little bit of weirdness, a little bit of found family, a little bit, everything that makes Tori is crammed into this amazing little read. And we can't wait to talk to you about it. Welcome to the channel, Tori.
Thank you guys for having me. But this is one of my favorite parts of the, after releasing the book, getting a chance to, you guys know how that is, getting a chance to just chat with people who've read it, and especially people that I'm friends with and that I already know. It's so much fun. I love that part of it so much. So thank you for having me.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. Such a pleasure. You were telling us right before we hit record that people are taking different things, and that's the coolest.
Yeah. Love that. Yeah, it's very interesting because every time a book comes out, and again, you guys know, you never know what matters to you as you're writing it is going to be somewhat the same depending on the person, but oftentimes the readers come back with things that really resonated with them that you didn't even think of. And that's so cool to see. That's what's part of the magic of books, right? Is just to see what each reader takes out of it, what matters to them, which characters they relate to or dislike the most, is fun. It's so much fun.
It's part of the real magic because it's that open lens from artist to audience,
right?
That you know what's important to you, but they're going to bring a whole life, and it's what's important to them. And somewhere it's like that communication between that lens with both of you, and it's it's just magic. So Jacob's got 5 questions. I've got 5 questions.
Ready.
We're going to go back and forth, and we are just going to dig in deep to Cold Silver for Souls. I'm going to let Jacob go first because I've been yakking for a while.
I'm excited to go first. Okay, so I finished it today. First of all, it was just blown away by it. I had so much fun with it. And I feel like the way that I've been pitching this book so far on Weekly Reader has been it is a combination of you're taking a Western and you're adding in necromancy. That's kind of like the elevator pitch for the book. And I had the last third of the book to go today. And that last third of the book is this is so much more than that now. This is a completely different story that goes way beyond that little elevator pitch. So I'm so excited to talk to you about this. But that idea of a Western and necromancy combination, I feel like I heard at some point that you talked about you loved necromancy and you wanted a better representation of necromancy, and that's part of the reason
that does make me sound a tiny bit sketchy.
What projects you got going in your backyard? Yeah.
Maybe just a little bit of baggage, Tori. Maybe just a little baggage there.
Yeah. I think it's very telling that my one of my friends was helping me come up with a Discord bingo for my patrons and my Discord people, and one of the squares just says trauma on it, and that's it. That was her idea, and I was like, I can't even argue.
It fits with this book pretty well.
That's too on brand to argue with.
Too on brand, yeah. I'm definitely that emo kid for sure.
But what was it exactly about necromancy that you wanted to do your own spin on?
I think so. When I was younger, in high school, I played a lot of Guild Wars. I don't know if there's probably some people in the audience that were into that game, and I always played a necromancer character. And I don't know what it is. I think, all of us, especially in fantasy, there's so much conversation around death as a theme in very different ways. And it's something that, is a common human experience. And so I think there's a morbid fascination there for a lot of people in different ways. For me, it was always, I saw all the different ways that people would present it in film or in books. And I was like, okay, if I were going to do something different with this, what would necromancy mean in a world that I created? And I really wanted to try a fantasy Western. And I was like, well, okay, that'd be kind of cool. But what if the main character was a necromancer in a fantasy Western? Because I've not seen that before. So that would be kind of cool. And it very quickly became a question of how do I use necromancy as a magical ability to dig into some deeper themes of character, because you guys know I'm a character nerd.
Yes.
And so that was the biggest question, is like, what would that actually cost? If I'm looking at the cost of this magic and it's not just this cool, dark, like, thing, what does that cost the person who's casting it? What does that cost the world? What does this do to a world where that would just exist? And how would people feel about it? And when Hunter kind of appeared on the page as a character, it kind of all fell into place very quickly about how those things all connected.
So how did you get to a point where you knew what you wanted to do with necromancy? You wanted it to be tied to character. When did it come in that you wanted it to be a Western? How did that combination happen?
Westerns are something that I've always really loved, especially film versions. And I grew up, my grandfather did trick shooting and was a big fan of Zane Grey and Louis L'Amour. He held targets for one of the best sharpshooters in the country back when he was a kid. Wow. And so I grew up, and he rode horses all the time. I'm a big horse girl and was raised in that. I have a long family history of horse trading and all this kind of stuff. And so it's always just kind of been something that I knew I wanted to write at some point. And I had rewatched recently some of my favorite modern Western films. I love the new Magnificent Seven. I saw the new True Grit actually after I started writing Cold Silver. One of my favorite films of all time is Young Guns from the 80s. There's actually an insult in Cold Silver that's literally straight out of Young Guns, because I wanted to drop a little Easter egg in there.
Which one?
The Scud Bottom Vagrant.
Oh, okay. That came up too many times to the point you're like, that's a reference to something. It must be.
yeah. It's been there, I think, once or twice. So it was just kind of everything kind of came together. And I was like, you know what? I need something different, because I'm working on my big epic fantasy and the Legends of the Bruhai, and I needed a brain shift. And I was like, let's just try it and see what happens. And at the beginning, it was just supposed to be a short story. And here we are. So
yeah, really. But it is, I mean, by that ending, I know we're doing no spoilers here. It is a planned series, right?
It is. Yeah. 4 to 6 books probably at this point. Yep.
Perfect.
Yeah, I already know. I know the ending already.
Great,
so.
Beautiful.
Oh yeah.
So does this kind of feel like a gift to your grandfather? A little bit.
Yeah, I think it's honoring.
And to yourself.
Yeah, definitely. It was a very personal project for a lot of reasons, and I think, a lot of people would know from watching my channel recently that my grandfather is now in memory care, and he's slipping away. And that's been really difficult to process. And I think I'm mentally just going back to a lot of those places that are very nostalgic and that kind of connect me to him more. So the idea of building this world that was very vibrant Western, but also pulling in some of my rural Minnesota upbringing with the dialect and some of the small town culture kind of stuff it was so much fun, honestly.
Yeah. And I love that it can live on a shelf
right
long after and not fade.
Exactly.
Very beautiful.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite parts about being an author is that kind of, it's a way of a semi-immortality, right? Where we can leave these things behind, and it's something that my kids and their kids can read someday. And when
you talk about your grandfather like that, Jacob doesn't remember my dad because he passed when he was so young. And it's like, this is such a beautiful way to capture that love in those places where both you guys came from, and have it for whoever going forward. So I think that's really beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a good year for that. I'm in an anthology coming up here on the Honor Anthology that also has a short story, completely different vibe. That's a direct it was directly inspired by my relationship with my grandfather, and it's made a lot of people cry so far. So hopefully everybody enjoys that too. But it's definitely more of a cozy vibe than Cold Silver. But
well, we will put the link for that Kickstarter down there.
Yes, yeah, there's like 5 days left. It's been amazing. Yeah, I'm excited to see it out.
You've got, when this drops, you have a couple days left. Go hit that up.
fantastic.
Also, saying that a book makes people cry is like the quickest way to sell it to me. That gets me really excited.
Same. I know. Like, please make me cry.
He's a chip off the old block. He gets it right from me.
You guys don't cry at books. I don't believe it.
Yeah. Well, I'm a cry waiting to happen. I'm looking for a place to land. Here's my first question. And I got to ask this because right now, like right before you popped on, Tori, we were going over it. It's like when you work, when you write, and you got to know this feeling, right? I've got some ideas, and then you start writing and things happen. It's like, how do I make these ideas fit? And sometimes it just feels like you're, pounding your head against the table.
Yep.
And now you've got 3 series.
Yep.
And I wanted to talk to you about how the pros and the cons of that, because
sure,
in a way, I feel like it would be very liberating to be able to step away and just go to a different world.
Yeah.
But then it also there's got to be cons too. So I just want to know, that's a lot to juggle. You've got Phased, you've got Legend of the Brewhigh, and now, as you said, 4 to 6 books in the Cold Silver for Souls. So what's that like, keeping all that straight?
Stressful. It is kind of fun. I've always been a go big or go home person, and sometimes it gets me into trouble. And I, January of 2024, I wasn't really planning on starting another series. And life just happened. And I was like, I don't have the emotional space for the massive amount of cost that it takes to write an epic fantasy. And I still needed something to keep that creative mojo flowing. Sure. So I decided to do a full pivot. And just see, and I didn't even know, am I going to publish this? I don't know. I just want to write it. And Hunter just kept me alive creatively last year. And she came off the page, and I was able to channel so much into her of what was going on in my life. And I knew there was a lot of thematic stuff with her that I was going to be able to dig into that made me very excited as a writer. So, and it did exactly what I was hoping it would do, because turning into this new year of 2025, it completely relit the fire of being ready to dig back into the epic fantasy and jump back. I'm writing Queen's Wolf right now and just loving being back with these characters. So it's just, I'm a big advocate for, we're artists, right? And it's not always linear. Sometimes you do have to bang your head on the table and pivot a little bit to keep yourself going. And the nice part is, a big pro for me is the fact that I now have 3 entry points. So, when I go to Dragonsteel in a couple weeks here, which I'm super psyched about, pretty much anybody who comes up to my booth, I'm like, I have probably something that will fit what they're interested in.
Absolutely.
And that's exciting too, because I want to be able to reach more readers and give them things that they're going to be excited to read. So if somebody's like, I'm not really feeling a big epic fantasy right now, I'll be like, hey, I got you. Try Cold Silver, because it's a fast, episodic, character study with gunfights. So I think that's a big pro. It is a lot to juggle, but it actually really helps me to be able to completely put something down and be like, I need a break. I need to let that simmer and marinate for a little bit. I'm going to jump back with Hunter because it's so completely different. I mean, John, you've read Bloodstones. The tone of these 2 books is so different that it's almost, it's good for me.
But they're absolutely Tori. Both of them are so Tori Tecken, and at the same time, both of them are such different flavors.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, it's like we were fighting over an Act 2 situation tonight, and I'm like, I just want to take a vacation and do a weird a necromancy Western story, because I knew I was about to come talk to you, and it's like, is onto something here. It has to feel kind of like a vacation in a way.
It does. It did, honestly. And it, like I said, it was either that or stop writing entirely, because I just hit a wall emotionally. And I was like, I don't want to be dead in the water. I want to actually put this brain space into a productive focus if I can. And I want to write what's calling to me right now and process through whatever it is in my creative brain I need to. And Hunter allowed me to do that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So would you say there are cons to it? Like when you start, do you go all the way through, or are you going back and forth in the middle?
I believe the first thing she said was it's stressful. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think, I'm obviously, one of the fun things about being an author that's in a more social space, and we're, public figures-ish, is that we're very connected to our audiences. And so I know the people that are like, but I want Queen's Wolf. And I'm like, I know, so do I. But I also knew that not taking that time to pivot would potentially push Queen's Wolf back even farther, because if I forced myself through it, also, I'm not going to give you guys the kind of product that I'm going to be proud of. Yeah. And that's a big deal to me. I'd rather take, some extra time and make sure that it's a really good experience when it hits your shelf. Than force my way through it and just kind of put out a mid-level, what I know would be a mid-level project. So
sure,
there's also nothing more draining than working on a project you're not excited about. Like that
exactly.
is a mind killer right there.
It definitely is. Yeah. And I think I know, like, the Legends of the Bruhai is my deep heart project, right? That series has been in my life for a really long time. Yeah, there it is. It's so pretty.
You know how I feel about book one.
I know. I have appreciated your support for that book so much, John. I really have. And it's,
Jacob, you need to read this.
My baby.
I know. As soon as I finished this one, I was like, all right, I'm picking up Legends of the Bruhai because I need more.
Yeah. So, I mean, that is a con, is that you have to split your attention, right? You realize, oh, now I have to spend time on each of these things. Phased will be an easy one because it's only 2 books. So when I finish the next one, and that's going to be a really fast write, I think, because it's just urban fantasy. It really flows really easily. And so that one will be done after I finish True Blood. So then I'll just have the 2 series that I can kind of go back and forth, and that hopefully will keep me moving at a faster pace on both of them.
And do you completely finish one before you go back to the other, or are you tinkering with? Do tinker at the same time?
With both, yeah. They're different. They're different enough that I can compartmentalize. And guys, I have ADHD, so being able to bounce around. Like, I'm also the person where I listen to lyrics when I'm writing. I can put a video on in the background sometimes. Like, my brain moves at about 1,000,000 miles an hour most of the time. So yeah, it's definitely not the normal way of writing books, I don't think.
But you juggle it really well.
Oh yeah.
Both these books were great. I have one follow-up. What did you learn taking this trip with Hunter?
Oh my goodness.
That has impacted your baby, Legends of the Bruhai for Queen's Wolf?
I think one of the things Hunter really taught me was, because it's such an intimate narrative, it's first person present, which is something I said I would never write a first person novel, and here we are. And I think because of that, it's very easy to try to white knuckle your character. We're right there. It has to be and letting her go and just letting her breathe and be, as opposed to trying to me kind of micromanaging everything. I think I'm taking forward now into Legend of the Bruhai, and instead of being okay, my characters need to be this, this, and this, let them breathe, let them, kind of come off the page, because they obviously, with Bloodstones, they already have that kind of foundation to now step forward into some deeper themes as we're digging in farther to the world and their story arcs. So I would definitely say I'm leaning on I'm trusting my characters more, I guess, is what I would say about Bruhai. Yeah.
That was actually one of my favorite things about Cold Silver, was that there are a number of scenes in the plot that you could probably remove from the book and nothing about the actual plot changes.
Yeah.
There's just times where the characters get to be alive and interact with each other. And I loved those moments. It just felt so down to earth and so part of the setting that there would just be such grounded pieces of time where the characters get to talk to each other and be themselves. I really liked that.
Thank you. That's one of my favorite things to read and write. I'm a plot-focused editor's nightmare. I'm not going to lie. That's one of the things I really appreciate about my editor, because she's also a very character-focused person, super detail-oriented, which I desperately need. But she understands that sometimes, like there was a scene in Phased. And I think I told you this, John, when we were talking about Phased like a year and a half ago or whenever that was, that my editor at the time, different editor, was like, you got to take this scene out because it does nothing for the plot development.
I remember this. Yeah.
And I was like, I like that scene from a character standpoint. And that is the one trump card I'm going to pull on your editing notes. I'm leaving the scene in there. And a lot of people mention that scene where they really connect with the characters more in that scene. And I think characters at rest is such an underrated part of storytelling, where they're allowed to just be human, if that makes sense. And like,
it makes total sense.
Yeah,
it makes total sense.
Yeah,
because then when the wheels fall off the wagon and things go down, we've connected. We know who they are.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's such an amazing.
With them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you drew that line as an artist and said, no, a lot of these notes, yes, that one, no. And that's important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that is, and that's part of the journey as an author, is learning to trust your own voice. Being open to that critique is really important. And I think that's a tough hurdle for a lot of us to learn as artists, but getting past that and saying, I accept this criticism as something that's going to make me a better writer. And also I trust my own voice and know my own story well enough that I know when to draw the line.
Yeah. Yeah. Such a tightrope. All right, buddy, your turn for official question number 2.
I have a question that this actually segues perfectly into, but I'm not going to ask it because it's really deep and we got to build up to that point. So going back,
I love that's how I write. I'm here for okay. Let's go.
Going back a little bit to when you were talking about juggling the different series. And managing all the worlds. I mean, it's obviously, this is book 1, Shade Silver book 1. It's very clear that you have plans for the world here. You've kind of established the mythology of the shades and how the territories work. And we've moved around a lot of the map, but not all of it yet.
Not all of it,
How did building that come about? Did you start hearing Hunter's voice first and the world kind of constructed itself around that? Or did you start understanding mechanics of the world and Hunter lived within it? What came first?
For me, character always comes first. So Hunter, I knew I wanted to write a bounty hunter necromancer. And I actually remember the short story that I wrote that was the origin of Hunter's story was actually for an anthology called The Advent of Winter that came out at the end of 2023. And mine is all the way up there. So thank you, John.
We're just going to fill up the desk with all the Tori's writing.
I'm just going to fill up the desk.
I love it.
I want to represent all your work, Tori.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And that anthology was such a good experience for me because I hadn't really written to publish a short story prior to that. And I was like, I don't know what to write. At first, I was like, maybe I'll dig into a little part of Legends of the Brewhigh and tell a little backstory somewhere. And I didn't know which direction to go. And I thought, well, okay, we need to wipe the slate clean. This is like, my brain's not going anywhere. I need to wipe the slate clean, try something completely off the wall different. What if I wrote a fantasy Western? That's the question all our authors start with, right? What if?
Yeah.
What if there were scary things at the bottom of the ocean, So the what if question quickly became, what if I had a fantasy Western combo and the main character was a bounty hunter and a necromancer? She's kind of an outcast and there's kind of this, how would she fit into society? And the first line but I also knew it's a winter theme, right? I live in Minnesota. I know winter. Like this is my jam, right?
And I love how dangerous winter is in this book.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And it's so true, right? I love the meme that's like, why do I live where the air hurts my face? And my family's been here for something ridiculous, 8 generations or something like that. So we know Minnesota, right? And I think the first line I ever wrote was in the short story, and I imagined her like huddled in her big jacket, pushing her way through the snow drifts up this mountain, and it's just, damn, this cold. And that was like the first thing that Hunter ever said in my head, and I was like, that's a good opening.
That's a good opening.
That's a good opening. So she definitely was very vibrant very quickly. And after that, it became the question of, okay, and she has this hulking animated corpse behind her. Who's that? Where did, like, what? She's not just a necromancer. She's got somebody that she's hanging on to. Why? You know? And it just, no pun intended, snowballed from there. And
Nice.
just, yeah.
So you didn't even know who Rip was. Like you went on this journey with Hunter.
Yeah.
Are you just like a full-on discovery writer then? Like you just let your characters talk to you?
Yeah, honestly. I mean, I do plan, once I kind of have the nucleus set, like, okay, we know fantasy Western, necromancer, she has a corpse, why? The world starts to kind of build from there. And I walk with the character until we hit a point where we need information. And then I'm like, okay, so why are we going up this mountain? Well, she's a bounty hunter. So she's going after this guy. What did he do? Who did he steal from? Why is she going after him? And that it just starts to kind of the map. You know how when you're playing a video game and you're walking into the map and it starts like you actually start to see the detail as you walk farther and discover what the map looks like. That's how I would kind of describe me writing stories.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
I think I'd have a panic attack if I wrote that way.
Yeah.
But I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
I would have a full-on panic attack. Before I go on to my next official question, I just got to say that opening, that hulking shadow behind her, that big coat, that damn this coat. I know you're a big fan, and I just got Jack London from it.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That makes me so happy.
I mean, just, you know, the short stories of In the Cold and
To
it's
build
so
a fire.
Jack.
Is it to build it? Yeah, to build a fire.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can't. I can't feel the matches, but I can hear them, and all all of those type of things. I could definitely see your love for that.
That makes me happy. Yeah, the beginning of White Fang too, for anybody that's read that, is very similar, where you're just out in the wild and these characters are on the brink of death and they're trying to survive, and the wolves are circling, and it's so intense. And I really wanted to kind of pull some of that into the cathedrals, the mountain cold range that Hunter's in. And it was just a combination of my own lived experience and favorite books that I've read. And yeah.
But definitely came across.
Good. I'm really glad. Yeah. Read Jack London, everybody.
Yes. You got a follow-up, buddy, or am I up?
My only follow-up would be, why do you live where the air hurts your face? I feel like I have to ask
that is
now.
a good
That's
question.
a good question. Yeah, I get that one a lot, actually. Well, like I mentioned, my family is 8th generation Southeast Minnesotan. So, like, I don't know where else I would go at this point.
Of course, yeah.
And I really love it. I'm not going to lie. If I get to a place where it's like 75 degrees Fahrenheit is about comfort level, top comfort level for me. If it's 80, 85, 90 degrees, I am the most miserable, grumpy, unhelpful person ever.
Oh, man.
And yeah, I walk out to get my mail when it's like 20 degrees in my flip-flops and shorts, and like I'm just used to it, I guess.
And where we come from, 85 is like the heavens have opened up and blessed you today. That's
Yeah.
And Texas is
hot.
smiling upon you.
It's hot.
Oh my gosh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So if I ever come visit you guys and I just seem a little irritable, it's not you.
We're not there anymore.
Okay.
We're in North Carolina, so it
North
should
Carolina,
be much
that's
better.
right. That's right. Yeah.
You'd be fine here.
Yeah,
You'd
yeah.
I'll be fine. Yeah. North Carolina's not bad. I've been there before. There's a lot of fun things in North Carolina besides you guys.
And the weather's nice.
And the weather's
Okay.
nice. Exactly. Better than Texas. Don't tell my
Oh,
Most
not
things are.
even close.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so here's my number 2 for you, Tori. And you had brought this up. Like, she's a bit of an outcast.
Yep.
Because of what she can do, she doesn't quite fit in.
Yeah.
And what struck me in reading this is, I thought this had some profound and amazing things to say, because in world building, you did not shy away from making this absolutely a true West feel of a patriarchal world.
Mm-hmm.
her boss is a man. She's carrying baggage from what's happened with her father, that a mystery that is unraveling. But you people this with such amazingly strong female characters. And I mean, just stunningly strong. Not only Hunter, but
Joe
the other,
Farster.
her bounty
Addie.
hunter. Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, Addie as
Her
well.
bounty-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her bounty hunter friend. And
Joe. Yep.
Joe.
Yep.
So did I just stumble upon that, or was that hard work on your part? What was it like crafting that? Was that part of your goals? I mean, I saw so much of what I imagined Tori Tecken to be, this strong pillar in this character. I just felt like it was such a reflection of you in so many ways, and I loved seeing it representational and played out in this world that is you did not shy away, very patriarchal.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of. I just read Dracula, and one of the things that I had to say about that was it was interesting comparing the male and female characters of Dracula as well, which is not West, but just kind of there's a lot of that everywhere. Yeah. And I think it's important, and it's like this in the Legends of the Bruhai too, to me showcase a wide variety of strength regardless of gender. So for me, you know, showcasing Hunter as a type of strong woman, and then you have Addie, who is a different type of strong,
totally different. Yeah.
And then you have Joe, who is a different, more weathered, more wise, potentially more experienced woman. And then you have on the other side, you have, you know, Reverend Ambrose, who is a type of strong man, masculinity. And then you have Johnny, who's this kind of up and coming, young masculine character who's finding his place in the world. And I think that that's really important to show variety, because I think sometimes the term strong female character gets boxed in way too often, and you get the kind of like Captain Marvel-esque, like just like inhuman, like nobody's actually like this, and she's so perfect that it's annoying.
That's why I thought this was so amazing. Like,
thank you.
You had relationship, you had deep relationship, you had different layers of deep relationship, you had people coming to terms with internal struggle, external struggle in the world around them, where they draw their strength from, what their history means to them in strength. Yeah. And it was portrayed in all these nuanced ways, as opposed, you just really knocked it out of the park with it. And you put it in a setting that, like you said, I grew up in the same with you. Like I saw Zane Grey and Louis L'Amour paperbacks strewn all over my dad's bedroom floor. And normally when we have this setting, we don't get this type of portrayal.
Yeah.
And I just found it a breath of fresh air and just lovely and powerful.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, like I said before, some of my favorite Western stories are, you know, the Magnificent Seven, the 3:10 to Yuma, the Young Guns. And I love all of those stories. But I always, you know, and I can relate to a lot of those characters still, because I don't think that that's exclusive to gender by any means. But I do think that I always wanted to see myself in the gang, you know? And I think Hunter allowed me to play with that a little bit and say, what if Hunter's the bounty hunter and she's, you know, a gunslinging, like, you know, kind of tough as nails sort of character. Well, she pretends to be as tough as nails, around the edges kind of character. What would that look like? Let me play in the sandbox a little bit. And then Addie, again, you know, you see a lot of these business owning characters in all of these different Western stories. And I was like, well, what if we have the like really beautiful, very charming woman who's a businesswoman. She's very like, and there's strength in all of them, but I also don't want them not to have flaws. Like each of them still needs things from the world. They're still flawed. They still have, you know, doubt and struggle. And I didn't want to shy away from the truth of that either, because real strength is facing the weaknesses that you have.
Yeah.
So it was important for me for them to have those.
Yeah. And I thought in true Tori Tecken fashion, the real strength is finding that strength in that found family and in those relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always.
Yeah.
If there's not a Motley Crue, I don't know if I wrote it, you know?
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Doubtful.
Once again, we have segued perfectly to one of my questions, which makes me very happy. You were talking about how it's difficult to have like a completely powerful female character to the point where they're so perfect that it's annoying. And like, I think the risk with that is that they're also so perfect that they're void of any flaws, like you were talking about, which is just, you can't relate to them. They don't feel like true people. And instead you're working with a setting like a Western, where in a Western, most of the characters are like larger than life people, the complete opposite. Everybody's incredibly flawed and really loud personalities. And the problem to navigate there is that when everybody's really loud personality, distinct characters, sometimes it gets difficult to distinguish between them because they're all loud.
Yeah.
Is that something that you were aware of when you were writing? Because I noticed that you, throughout the story, were giving characters mannerisms.
Yeah.
Like to have Hunter strike a powerful pose against somebody. She, you know, puts her hands on her hips and
makes
leans on
bigger.
Wheel. Yeah, makes herself bigger. When she's nervous or thinking, she starts chewing on her chapped lip until it bleeds sometimes if she's so nervous. It was just things like that that I noticed. You're taking the time to distinguish these people and make them all their own personalities. I really enjoyed that. I didn't know if that was something you knew you had to do going into it, or if you had to go in a second draft and do that later.
Yeah, I think that was pretty first draft. I mean, my first drafts are like multiple drafts in one because I'm always editing as I go. But I think it's always really important, and this goes back to my love of Motley Crue, right, is when you have a group of main characters, it's really important to give them their own space. And one of the ways that I try to approach that is by contrast. So I look at Hunter and I say, okay, what is not completely the opposite all the time, but like, what's an opposite of Hunter? Addie, right? She's almost a complete opposite of Hunter in a lot of ways, which is why I think their relationship is so beautiful, because they really need something from each other. Emotionally, physically, whatever it is, you know, as far as like Addie needs a bit of a bodyguard sometimes. And I think that I always try to kind of turn, okay, well, what's the contrast to this? And what's the contrast to this? And what, you know, for Hunter, who's somebody that she really doubts and she struggles with the idea of faith and trust and all of these things. What's the contrast to that? Reverend Ambrose, right? Who has been through a war himself, and he's been through all this stuff, and he's a small town preacher, and he believes in her more than she believes in herself. Johnny is a mirror image. So you contrasts and mirror images when you have like groups of characters, and that mirror image often shows your main character something they may not want to see about themselves. And so there's definitely I see myself in you. How am I going to handle that? So it's really fun. And this is where my character nerd really starts to rear its head when I'm writing, is like, how can I make this person have their own space within the story? Because even if they're only on page for a couple minutes, like the tailor is one of my favorite small characters in the story. Miss Holloway, she's the town spinster. She knows everybody's business. She has thoughts about Hunter's fashion sense, but she knows that she's probably been through this before and just knows like it's kind of a lost cause at this point, you know? So like, how do you give them little bits of their own flavor to either contrast or mirror image the main protagonist? So
I love that you're so aware of the dynamics between all the characters. I love that you're so aware of all the dynamics between the characters going into it, because I'm sure that makes it so much easier to put a scene together and just let them talk to each other.
Sometimes me and the characters kind of butt heads a little bit, and I'm like, well, yeah, but wouldn't it be? And Hunter's like, no.
Wouldn't it be easier for the plot if you did this?
No.
How you're talking about, sometimes they get that kind of funhouse mirror of themselves. And what a great way to mind drama. And like you say, of themselves in that. Like you were just saying, it's like, okay, her fashion sense or lack thereof. But you know what? She did a great job picking out that fabric as a gift.
Yeah.
So there's layers to her. There's things going on there that she doesn't allow herself or doesn't fit in her life. It doesn't mean it's not there.
Right. And that's where your lived experience comes through, right? Like I have a very close friend. I love her to bits and pieces, Emily, and we sometimes will go out thrift store shopping together. My sense of fashion is so opposite to hers. Like she is the pastels, the very feminine, and I'm like, give me a flannel shirt or a black leather jacket and we're good, right? And going out shopping with her, we have the best time picking out clothes for each other. Yeah. Because it's so different than what we would normally pick out for ourselves, right? So even though Hunter would never be caught dead in a corset and some satin, she also appreciates that just because I don't like to be in that, Addie does. And she looks really nice in it. And I think she'd like this color, you know, like, and it's kind of a sweet way of loving somebody in their love language as opposed to your own, if that makes sense. So and it was a good way, I think, to kind of introduce their relationship before it was ever on page.
Just a quick break in the action to thank all of our correspondents, directors, and producers on Patreon. These people keep the lights on. They make decisions for us because we don't know what we're doing. We're not great at making the decisions around here. The decisions all the way from what I'm going to read next, what the book club of the month Patreon pick is going to be, but all the way up to video ideas and what we're going to do here on the channel coming up for you. If you're interested or you want to find out how you can be a part of this, right down there in the description box, click the Patreon link. It's got all the answers for you. And once again, thank you to all of these fine people that are helping us build the channel, our correspondents, directors, and producers. I want to talk about Rip a little bit because I love Rip.
Everybody loves Rip. I was not expecting that. Everybody's like, Rip's awesome. I'm like, okay, guys.
Rip, I'm sorry, Rip doesn't do all that much. I feel like I love Johnny. Johnny's my favorite.
No, Johnny's great too, but let me tell you about Rip.
Let's go.
You've got this hulking, decomposing shadow that is following Hunter not quite decomposing, but
he's kind of trapped in the middle. Yeah.
He's seen better days. So we'll leave it there.
Definitely. Yep.
Following her step for step everywhere she goes. And I thought this was just for a book that is truly about a character coming to terms with her own past and her own mystery and her own self. Mm-hmm. This is such a beautiful representation and speculative fiction of what she's carrying behind her. Mm-hmm. And I could get in so much deeper if we were doing spoilers, and I absolutely don't want to do that because I want everyone to run out and buy this book when we're done. But talk to me about Rip. Was that your goal from starting? It's like a necromancer, and it's like, this gives me the opportunity to take this shambling undead ideal and truly do something with it that is character relevant and pushes the entire internal journey of my main character forward.
Yeah, definitely. He honestly, I can say that he is the most challenging aspect of this story, if I'm being totally honest, because when you have a character, because he's his own character, who is, I wanted him to feel like a ball and chain.
Yeah.
And it's a ball and chain that Hunter has put on herself. Right. Yeah.
Right.
And it's
and
almost
she could cut
like,
at any time and just doesn't.
She could. Yeah.
And Rip has his own past and mystery as well.
Yeah.
That the reader is slowly, getting a picture of.
Yeah.
And they're inextricably linked.
They are. Yeah.
Yes.
They're very integrated at this point. And because of the way the magic works in this world, he literally carries a shard of her, because that's how you animate something in this world. You have to give it a piece of yourself, right? So Rip represents so much in the, like, physically of what's going on under the surface for Hunter. And I think sometimes in life, when you feel like an outcast and you've gone through a lot of really hard things, it can be really easy to own it in an almost unhealthy way where you like, before anybody even knows anything about me, just so you know, like you're almost like, I'm gonna get it in there before anything happens. Kind of the like a twist on the I'm gonna hurt you before you can hurt me kind of mentality, where
Sure.
you're gonna know right away. I'm a necromancer, in case you hadn't noticed. Does that bother you? And it's kind of confrontational intentionally. And Hunter, I think, is very much in that hurt place where she is definitely put out her spiky shield, and he just happens to shamble around after her everywhere.
Right.
And I'm really looking forward to exploring more of what led up to their intersecting. And like, it's been really fun to hear everybody's theories, because everybody's like, oh, is he this? Did this happen? And it's been fun to hear one person has gotten it right so far.
Oh, really? One got it right.
Yeah.
The other part the other part I love about Rip is that, as you were saying, like, let me just wear my baggage up my sleeve. Let me put it out there. Let me be confrontational with it.
Yep.
And sometimes you can, like you said, in an unhealthy way, you can cling on and hold on to that ball and chain.
Yep.
But you can totally understand why, because there are moments that there's the relationship between Rip gets her almost better than anyone else can, in a way, right? Yeah. Like
he's a mirror in a lot of ways.
It is so layered and so real with the things we carry with us from our past that we deal with, that we don't want to deal with. So we keep carrying him until we are ready to. And this is the crux. This is that full character journey that just keeps you turning pages and pushing you to find out. And it's a mystery that is not only shambling about in the physical reality of her existence, but more so and more interesting is it's under the skin. It's under the layers of why and how.
Right.
And it was just such a beautiful use of this shambling undead trope, and you turned it into some type of symbolism to something that we all deal with in day to day.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was phenomenal.
Thank you. Yeah. I really appreciate that. Yeah, Rip is. And it was funny because I'm a firm believer in the reader often having the same experience in some ways as the character. And especially in a first person, I want to elicit similar emotions for the reader that Hunter is feeling. And it was working for me as the writer too, where I'd get to a scene and I'd be like, oh, what do I do with Rip here?
Yeah.
And the idea occurred to me multiple times writing this book. It would be easier if she let Rip go. For me as a writer, too. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And I love that, because that's what, it would make more sense for Hunter to just be like, I'm done. I'm doing something else with my life now. But she's stubbornly hanging on to that tether, and she can't. It's almost like she can't let it go anymore.
Yes. Yeah. Or it would make more sense for some of us to stop drinking, or pick a poison, pick a problem.
Yes,
exactly. Anything.
Yeah.
I'll turn it over to you right after this. This is such an amazing, perfect example of this, Tori, and I just want to give you huge kudos for this, because I hear all the time, loving and reading in the genre that we live in and that we love.
Yeah.
Sometimes people can say, it's surface, it's not deep. Those type of tropes and stories are tired. And it's like, no, they have things to say. It's maybe that story is tired, that writer is tired, that didn't connect with you.
Yep.
But it doesn't have to be. It can be deeper. Right. It can be more.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
All you, buddy.
Okay, great. I was going to commend you as well, because, writing trauma can be really hard. Not only because you maybe have to unpack a lot of things yourself, but also because you want to do a good representation, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of scary. And I think you did such a great job of it, because there's almost like this hereditary aspect of trauma as like a background theme that comes much more to the forefront as the story goes on, of whatever happened between Rip and Hunter, and Rip being this like physical baggage that Hunter is carrying around, and she comes upon Johnny, who has his own set of trauma. And there is a point where it would be easier if, like, Hunter has the ability to almost pass Rip on to Johnny.
Yeah.
And she never takes it. It would be the ultimate sin to Hunter to pass that trauma on to somebody else and give that burden. And instead, it becomes so much more of a beautiful thing that Hunter knows what she's been through and sees the path that this boy is on and potentially going toward.
Right.
And she intervenes to hopefully give him a different direction. And it just, I thought that
which
was
makes you wonder
really
exactly
beautiful.
what happened earlier with
Yeah,
Hunter.
I know.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Maybe
It's
book 2
coming,
or
I
3 or
promise.
something. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm excited to find out whatever it is. But my question for you is that Hunter clearly had this traumatic moment and is now dragging it behind her day after day. What was building the mannerisms of that like? Were there elements of traits of PTSD that you wanted to give to her? Because, I mean, trauma can be so different for everybody. Was it imposing to make those selections? What was that like?
Yeah, I mean, I think as I've written a lot of characters that have a lot of baggage in all of my stories.
What book are you grabbing now, Dad?
Phased.
Let's talk about Phased.
Yeah, I mean, Phased is like like I tell people, it is a story about werewolves, but it is also a story about PTSD.
Yes.
In a lot of ways, and how the same, two people can go through a very similar trauma and cope with it completely different ways. And Hunter definitely has kind of a smorgasbord of things, I think. I think grief is a big theme for Hunter, and the idea of letting go of things I dug into more with her, I think, than I do in Phased, or at least the first book of the Phased duology. And that's so tough because I want to be responsible with any heavy themes that I portray. And I think one of the ways that I can do that, because I'm never going to be able to write a character that speaks to every single person's experience, right? Even if it's the same disorder, even if it's the same type of trauma, whatever it might be. And so part of that is infusing it with my own lived experience so that it feels authentic. It is something that someone has been through to whatever degree. And leaving it, I don't want to say vague enough because I don't feel like it's vague, but leaving space for other people to see themselves in different aspects, even if it's not the whole package. There might be some things about Hunter that resonate with somebody and other parts that they're like, I wouldn't have reacted that way, or I haven't been through this exact thing, but I see myself in the sense that, like you were saying, John, she's dragging this along with her. She's coping with it in a not super healthy way. And while she's not willing to pass it on to someone else, she's slowly kind of poisoning herself, and both of those things are horrible. Like when you don't want to pass it off to somebody else, but you also need to make sure that you're healing yourself as well.
But you can't put it down.
Yeah. Right, exactly. And so it is definitely something that I try to be very responsible with, and also give the character enough space and life to come off the page and to give people different aspects to relate to, even if it's not the whole thing. And Hunter was definitely, I mean, I was really feeling a lot of those themes of grief and struggling to let go of anger over some situations that were going on in my life at the time. And pouring that into her and letting her carry that with me made her much easier to write. And I think that brings that off the page, right? And it makes people feel like, oh yeah, this is something that I can relate to because it feels real.
Yeah. And even for the times that there is some traumatic trait or response that Hunter has that somebody can't relate to, I think you do such a great job of always showing the motivation of why she's doing what she's doing.
Yeah.
If she has some type of tick or reaction, it's always under the surface in a very Hunter way, hidden of why she's really doing what she's doing.
Yeah. And I think with that too, another aspect that I'll mention about writing trauma or quirks or anything that kind of go along with that is trusting your reader. I don't feel the need to spell it out for them. I don't feel the need to, and that honestly, if I spell it out, that gives them less space to be in the story, right?
Yes.
So I want to trust my reader to know this is Hunter's experience. How does that either contrast or mirror your own?
Yeah. I will be honest. I'll pass it to you after this, Dad. I will be honest. I was genuinely afraid that when we got to the end of the book, you were going to answer all of my questions, and I'm so glad that you answered so few of them.
Yeah.
I was like, this book is so much more beautiful because you don't have these answers. I really loved that.
I could get on.
I wanted answers.
That.
I still want the answers, but I feel good that I don't have them yet.
I have such a huge soapbox about the first book in a series should not give you all the answers. And I feel like I'm in very good company with that particular mindset. So,
oh yeah,
because you guys answered the questions about discovery at the end of book 1, right?
We answer very little, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
We have actually.
It maybe seems like we answer a lot, but there's some more.
Later chapters where people have told us, "I can't believe you gave us all this. You gave us all these answers." Like
that's just so you can understand.
Not even
stuff.
The tip of the iceberg.
Yep. Okay. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah, definitely. Well, and that's just it too. Like, I'm telling the story in a way that is authentic to Hunter, and Hunter doesn't trust people very easily. She's not going to tell you where Rip came from in the first book. Are you kidding me? She just met you at the beginning of chapter 1, right? Like, we got to get there first.
Absolutely.
Very good point. Very good point. My next question. Okay, Tori, I want to make sure, because this is a very internal, personal character journey we've been talking about, but I also want people to understand and realize there are some huge, great cinematic Western set pieces in this, just like you want to have, right? I'm talking about the Cathedral Mountains, the mine. I don't want to give too much away, but you get everything you want from a Weird West tale here. But what I want to talk to you about crafting is how the drama is heightened, and it works a little bit differently because each and every one of those set pieces is tied into character realizations and mysteries.
Yeah.
Each one of these set pieces that happens and comes across on both sides, Hunter and whatever adversarial forces she's facing, you understand where they came from, why they're there, the motivations that got them there, how this interacts with their internal struggle and their mysteries. It's not just a set piece so we can have things go boom, boom. We get the boom, boom, but it goes so much deeper. And I want you to talk about crafting the set pieces so they operate on those different levels at the same time.
Yeah. Well, this is where, like, when I say I'm a character nerd, this is how deep it goes, guys. Okay. The set pieces are also characters.
Okay.
So, for example, the cathedrals and paradise the town Hunter is from are meant to be a backdrop to Hunter, right? So you have the cathedrals, and the cathedrals are dangerous and they're stubborn, and Hunter is fighting against them. It was like a physical manifestation of her fighting herself and the world around her, right? And paradise is this kind of like hole in the wall, small town, very set in its ways, stubborn, kind of little podunk place at the edge of the universe kind of thing. And it's an outcast, right? It is kind of the outcast from at the very far reaches of this map. And then we move to something like the Blue Moon Hotel, which is, Addie's hotel, her place of business. And it's Addie's personality is very charming, right? That's her magical ability. She's charm. So when you go to this hotel, it's the best night of sleep you've ever had in your life, right? And it's written that way. We've got the china teacups, and we've got the beautiful rugs and the glass doors, and I'm trying to write it in a way that's a backdrop that reflects Addie. So every single place that we go to, I'm trying to think, what is the character of this place? What does this place feel like? How long has this place been here? How much can I show of a backdrop to the characters through the soul of this place? So that is fun to me. And also it kind of goes back to, I'm also a military fantasy writer, right? So when you're writing battle scenes, use your environment, right? Use your environment, have them trip over a small stone wall, like use that in the combat. And I think it's very similar when you're writing just any kind of scene. Use your environment, have the place be part of whatever's happening.
Yeah,
because it just it makes it feel like you're actually in a world more that way.
And that character is in that. I love the moment in the cathedrals where she was not only, like you say, battling that place that you so well described, but also she's remembering last time that she went up and that history and what that means to her and why and all all those things. Yeah.
And I mean, even the shades are kind of part of that. And I won't give away too much about the shades because they were great fun to write.
Oh man!
But I mean, if you wanted to kind of twist the metaphor of like the ghosts of the past or something, like, you know, there's definitely even some of that in them showing up in the cathedrals. So yeah,
for sure. Yeah. Oh, I love that's such a great action-packed scene, but it hits deeper because it is connected with the character journeys.
Yeah, definitely. Writing the scene pieces in this was some of the most vibrant that I've done before, and that's something, again, like you were asking before, that I'll take with me back into Queen's Wolf, because I think there's a lot of world building within Legends of the Brewhigh that I can lean on more going forward in the series. So, yeah,
I love that. All you, bud.
Well, I want to talk to you kind of, and we're no spoilers here, but I want to talk to you about the end of the book, which sounds like I'm about to say a lot of horrible things that nobody should be watching. Yeah. We're not doing spoilers, but
yeah.
I love the shared experiences between Johnny and Hunter. It's maybe my favorite aspect of the book.
Yeah.
And it culminates in this climax that does one of my favorite things that any story can do, which is that there's a realization of sorts that this story is kind of about someone else.
Yeah.
It's not totally about Hunter. And I love when that happens for so many reasons, but we're just watching Johnny's family drama unfold, and it affects Hunter in a way that only we understand.
Yeah.
And we don't have all the information about Hunter, but we have just enough more than a little, other characters do to understand why she's fighting for Johnny.
Right.
In ways that other characters don't understand.
Yeah.
How hard was all of that to navigate from a first person point of view of the person that is not necessarily the climax of the story?
Yeah. So I think it's a really good question. I think Johnny was a character that I knew after I wrote the short story, and I was starting to look at this more as a novel, potentially series. The other characters came into focus a lot more heavily, because obviously Hunter cannot support, you have to have a cast, right? Like Hunter can't support the entire story by herself. Maybe she could, I don't know. But I just don't think it would be as meaningful by any means if I kept all of those characters at arm's length. And Johnny, I'm a big fan of subtle redemption arcs.
Yeah.
I don't like when it's really obvious. Sometimes it can be done really well, but I love the subtle redemption theme of when a character comes face to face with, what if you could do this differently?
Yeah.
What if you made a different decision? What if somebody else mattered more than you did?
Yeah.
And I think those questions are things that Hunter, as a lone wolf character, right? We meet her in the beginning. She is a bastion of aloneness, right? Like, she's just like, I'm me and we're good. And you can just like go on your merry way. Everything's fine. Which is the clearest sign, of course, that everything's completely fine. And she has to come face to face with, and that's where I think character conflict really allows you to push some deeper themes, right? You get to a point where you ask your character some really hard questions. Okay, you're at a crossroads here, right? You can be lone wolf hunter and never care, quote unquote, about anybody else and keep everybody at arm's length, or you could help somebody. And how would that change you? What would that make you confront within yourself? So it isn't, it isn't just about Hunter, but it's also important for me to show what his story is doing within Hunter's character as well. And Johnny, I have like such a close space to my heart for him. And he's actually loosely based on one of my favorite fictional characters of all time.
Really?
Which, for anybody that's seen The Outsiders, which is one of my favorite stories ever, Johnny Cade, played by Ralph Macchio, is one of my absolute favorite fictional characters, and his name is also Johnny. And I started with, what if I took Johnny Cade and threw him in a Western novel? And what would happen if a character like him came across Hunter? What would she do?
Yeah.
Wow. I love that. I have not seen it, so now I got to go watch it.
But Jacob.
I know. So many things I haven't seen. But
I mean,
come on.
You can
stay golden, pony boy.
That's right. The film adaptation is very, very excellent and very close to the book. So if you wanted to watch before reading, you're going to get a lot of pretty much the same experience, I think. But yeah, highly recommend.
Perfect.
I
need more Johnny, so I'm going to be watching that.
Yeah,
I love Johnny I love listening to how you describe it, Tori, and it goes both ways. It seesaws back and forth in that way, because why is Hunter so alone? It's because of what she's carrying and what's happened. And whether she knows it or not, she gets that second chance to maybe do differently than what has happened to her in the past or what's been done to her. And Johnny gives as much to her as she can possibly make these choices and say, and and I know you're going to completely understand this. Being a parent, that's just definitely alchemy. That's just magic. That's that's the good stuff of life right there.
Yeah. I mean, in a lot of ways, Hunter kind of finds herself in a sort of faux parental situation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
That grows you up really quickly, or it should. And the recognition that like my life doesn't matter to me as much as somebody else's might is a very different space to be in all of a sudden. And I think, I mean, I became a parent very young. I was 21 when I had my son, and I had to do a lot of growing up very quickly when he was born. And I think it is a little bit of that breaking the cycle legacy, I think, that you were talking about earlier, is that we see this person that we love more than any words could ever explain. How do I protect them from the things that I've been through? And you can't from everything, which is the worst part about being a parent. But yeah, I think that was a way of me kind of pushing Hunter into a space where she was going to have to confront some things, and she was going to have to grow up a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, last question. And this is a fun one, because I knew we were going to go to some serious stuff. There's no way to talk about this book and not. There's no way to talk about a Tori Tecken book and not. But this is all just for fun. Here, oh, come on. Talk to me about casting some of our friends on BookTube in this book. I mean, I don't want to say which ones. I don't want to give things away, because it's so much fun to just stumble on them. But that had to be awesome, right? Oh,
definitely. It was so much fun. I mean, again, not spoiling who it is for anybody who hasn't read the book and doesn't want to know, but two close friends of mine here on BookTube. It was kind of a way of me. It happened pretty naturally. Like, it just sort of like made sense in my head. I got to a certain point. I needed some side characters in this space. And I was like, well, what if I just made so-and-so the bartender and so-and-so the chef? And like, what would they be like as characters in a world like this? And it was so much fun. And I definitely reached out to them both and was like, just, are you okay with this? And they
okay. I had one checking in with me daily to see if I had got to them yet.
I'll be honest, I missed this. I'm trying to flip through right now
Are
and
you
find
kidding
names.
me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
All right, we'll tell you off camera.
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
tell you off camera. That's
All
yeah.
right, all right.
It was so much fun, and it was a way to kind of, first of all, honor them for the just sheer amount of support that they both have been to me as an author and as a booktuber as long as I've known them. And in a way to kind of give a nod to the booktube space in general, because I wouldn't be where I'm at without the audience that I've, built here on booktube and in the book community. And everybody has been, for the most part, so incredibly supportive, and like you guys having me on for like how many of my books at this point, and like, that's just, it's such a gift, honestly, as an author, to be given that space to talk nerdy about the books that you write, and seeing people genuinely enjoy them is such a gift. And it's why I love having written the books, is that collaboration between artist and audience. And I just think that's such a special relationship.
Well said.
So yeah, I have a couple friends in here, and most people can catch them pretty easily. And I've said
Not
this,
Jacob.
Not me.
no, it's not. Sorry, Jacob. Maybe Cold Silver too. I'll throw you in there.
Sweet.
Yeah, and I have said this, I think on the last interview I did about Cold Silver. I am currently in kind of the baby brainstorm stages of pulling together a full cast for the audio book of this. It's going to be, originally I was going to read it just on my own.
Sure.
And I'm definitely still going to narrate Hunter. But I started thinking, man, I directed an audio drama back in college, and it was one of my favorite experiences of the entire time I was there. I was like, I could do that again. Like, this is a short enough book, and these characters would lend so well to a full cast audio drama.
That's so cool.
And so my first question was to the two booktubers that were mentioned in the book. And I was like, so how do you guys feel about voice acting your own characters as cameos in this? And they both said yes, which I'm very excited about. And you guys, I have got some incredible voices lined up that have already signed on to do this. And I'm just so giddy about trying to get it's going to be a big project, but I think it's going to be really cool. So I'm very
that's
excited.
amazing.
That's amazing.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
All right. You bring us home, Jacob. Last question.
That was my last question. Your counting's wrong.
Oh, you started first.
Yeah,
That's right. Yeah, he did.
Oh man. All right. Math has never been my thing. Well,
Same.
here.
Oh man, that is the most stressful part of every book I write. If there's a timeline of any kind, I have to have like 3 people double check it for me, because I'm like, I can't math. So can you just make sure that I didn't do this wrong?
That's all mom for us.
That's all mom for us. Yeah.
I need to just hire Amy.
Oh, she's
the
so
whole book
good.
is Amy, really. If we're
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just the J bookends.
Yeah. We just kind of hold her up in the middle.
Yeah.
Well, here's and you know what you said, thanked us for having you on, Tori. We're going to have you on for the next book you read, because as you can see, I'm absolutely going to buy it. I'm absolutely going to read it. And there's a reason why. And this is why I'm going to say and pitch to everyone out there that hadn't picked up Phased or Bloodstones or Cold Silver for Souls. Not only are they lovely, deep, thought-provoking pieces of genre fiction, and that's what we all love and we all crave and we all want here on this little corner of BookTube, but it's also that amazing, generous, artistic project of an artist that completely opens themselves up and goes deep and is brave when they put these words to paper and holds nothing back. And there's no better artist to support and go in on than somebody that does that. And you, my friend, and I feel like I can call you my friend because I've read these books.
Oh, you tell me, yeah, please.
You do it. You do it over and over and over again. And that is why whatever comes next, whichever one, I will be picking up immediately.
Well, first of all, you're not supposed to make me emotional on these interviews, John. I'm emotional in my books, not in real life. Leave me alone.
it's just the truth, Tori.
Thank
Truly.
you. I mean, I honestly feel incredibly humbled by the support. And I think as an author, and you guys know this, sometimes when you're in the writing cave and you're struggling to bring this vision in your head to life through words, and the translation between the story in your head and the page is such a difficult journey sometimes. And I think beyond that, as an author, indie author, you're wearing all the hats, right? And we've talked about that before. And it can so often feel like you're just pushing a boulder uphill. And like, is this even worth like the amount of all of the things that I'm struggling through to get these books written and done and published? And then I have conversations like this, and I get messages from readers, and I see people's reviews, and it's just, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. And seeing people relate to these characters that I've poured so much love and time into is just, there's absolutely nothing like it. And I can't thank you guys enough for giving me a chance to talk about them and for sharing your very generous support to all of the books that I've written, because I do try to pour everything I have into every single one.
And it so shows, and that's why it is our pleasure. That's why you'll be here. Whatever comes out next, we read it. You'll be here next time too.
Well, likewise.
Hold on now. I have to gush too. Let's not skip over.
Okay. All right. Oh, it's going to be a full-on gush fest. You got to take a turn.
I can't handle anymore. Stop.
You have to, Tori. This is the first indie book I've ever read. This is my first ever indie book, and it's just so meaningful to be part of the indie movement, not only as people that have written a book and been in that, but now as booktubers. And you know, it's scary reading a friend's book, and what if you don't like it? Oh no, that's terrifying. And I could not be more thrilled to say that at the end of this book I closed it and had the serious thought that this is something beautiful. You've really done something with this. And everybody in life has gone through their own levels of trauma, and you know, whatever age you are, you've experienced different things, and everyone is a different walk of life. There is something that you captured with this that is just by definition incredibly human. Even though none of these people in this book are real, I feel that they are real, and it is a feat. And I hope you're really proud of yourself, because you should be.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm horrible at compliments, so I'll do my best.
I'll tell you, being in this indie movement, you're one of those writers that makes us proud to be in the movement.
Yes.
Oh, guys, seriously, it's been a really long road, honestly. And I have days of imposter syndrome like everybody else does. And I think being part of a group of authors who are all doing their best to put out really powerful stories is so encouraging. It's so removing that kind of isolation, I think, is one of the best things that the indie movement has done for storytelling. And it's such an honor to be able to talk to fellow authors and who are also content creators, and knowing that my book is in the hands of people who love great stories already. And for then you to say, I loved this is so good, is just like, I'm going to probably write like 10,000 words in the next 2 days, because I'm just on a high. I hope. And it does kind of help just keep you moving forward. You know, on the hard days, you can go back and rewatch and re-listen to the comments and say, you know, I am proud of myself, and I'm really proud of Hunter, and how vibrant she is as a character, and I loved writing her, and I can't wait to write the rest of her story and see how people feel about it.
Well, we
can't wait to read it.
I'm sure I speak for both of us when I say we're honored to share the space with you. Yes. And now I'm done gushing. You may now plug yourself and your website and all your wonderful places.
We want to say, everyone, we want to make sure there are links to Bloodstone and Phased and Cold Silver for Souls. And you can get them all at Amazon. You can get them maybe other places. And the new Kickstarter for Honor is going to be down there as well. So many amazing indie authors in that project.
Yes.
Not just
Tori.
Gosh. Yeah. But now, should they go, what's the best? Should they just hit Amazon, Tori? Should they go to your website? What's best for people to find your work?
So obviously, if you want to support indie authors the most, direct sales are the best for us. My website has all 3 of my books on it. So you can order them directly from me, and I package every one, and I have a blast doing it. And Amazon, all of my books are there as ebooks and paperbacks, and the Honor Anthology Kickstarter, like I mentioned before, 22 indie authors, sci-fi and fantasy, and the range, you guys, of these stories is going to be absolutely mind-blowing. I cannot wait. There's going to be a story in there for absolutely everyone. So yeah,
right down there in descriptions, we'll have the Kickstarter and we'll have a link to Tori's website, and check it out. You should just do yourself a favor and buy all 3.
Yes.
If you haven't started reading Tori.
Yeah. Well, and just to really quickly turn it around and gush briefly on the opposite end of the spectrum, I think booktube is such a special space, and we talk about that every time we get together.
Oh yeah.
And I think the reason why it's such a special space is because there are people like you guys making content, and not just making content, but making a community where people are just so welcomed and enjoy the time that they spend in it, that they keep coming back video after video. You guys are such a warm pair of people in this space, and it's so much fun to click on your videos, and I always have an immediate smile when I see there's a new video from you guys up on my homepage. And so you guys are honestly as much of a gift to the community as booktubers, as writers. So thank you for that.
That is so. I keep saying it. We feel like we won the lottery just to even be here.
You were supposed to make me tear up. This isn't fair.
Yeah, you're our guest.
We're interviewing you, Tori. This isn't how this is supposed to go.
No.
Well, Tori, thank you for your work. Thank you for your journey, and thank you for representing that journey in words and story, and making us all feel a little bit more connected and a little bit more human.
Thank you so much for having me, you guys. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And thank everybody for watching.